Welcome to another edition of Politics and Run. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. I'm here with the one and only conservative. This black dude here is a conservative that I want to kind of get into his mind. Tyler Bluntman, how are you doing today? Welcome to Politics Done Right.
What's up, man? I appreciate you inviting me on, man. It's definitely awesome to be here.
Well, I mean, I talk to everybody. I like to hear other points of view. I like to make sure that everybody have their hearing. We're not supposed to think alike,
Right.
but there are certain things that are absolute. Would you agree?
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Coming from a conservative.
I mean, the sky is blue. That's absolute. So
well, actually,
yeah.
The sky is not blue, so that's not.
Oh, so I guess it's not absolute.
Anyway, I'm an engineer, so you got to be careful, brother. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I should have said something different.
Yes. All right. Anyway, look, welcome aboard. I'm going to tell you, I went to your TikTok channel. Okay. After as one of our listeners, a good friend of mine, I think she's a conservative as well. She said, Egberto, you got to check out Tyler. Do you know her? Is she a friend of yours or something? She said,
she's a mutual Facebook friend of ours. Yeah.
Right. And she said, I need to check you out and talk to you. I think what she really wanted to do is she hears me a lot. She hears you, and she probably want to say, kind of standing in between and want to see what things are all about. First of all, where are you from?
Florida, man.
Florida. How old are you?
20. Oh shit. No, I'm 30 now, man. I just turned 30. So
you
yeah,
are
I'm in my 30s,
old, man.
I know, dude. To be fair, I'm old on TikTok.
Right.
I am averagely aged on Instagram, and I'm super young on Facebook.
Trust me, I know. I am one of the old ones on Facebook. I just try to kind of hide my age. You know what I mean?
But no, man. You do it well, man. You do it well.
Well, look, I appreciate that, and let me tell you, you are so entertaining on your channel. I'm going to tell my progressives to visit you because, I think when we do that kind of stuff, we're kind of nice to others. Now, you're generally not very nice to people. Let me just tell you that. But
why do you think I'm not nice?
Well, sometimes you hit them pretty hard, and
that doesn't mean I'm not.
No,
nice.
but I feel sorry. I feel sorry for some of the people that you hit because you are so good at what you do that they don't stand a chance.
Yeah,
they don't stand a chance. And I sit down there and I'm like, oh God, they gonna get it, and they get it, But anyhow, tell me a little bit about your life. How did you grow up?
We didn't really discuss politics in my home, man. When I didn't even get into politics until I was 26, like 4 years ago. So yeah, man, I grew up in just about every walk of life that you could think of, man. I grew up in rat infested motels in Baltimore, and I grew up in trailer parks, and then I went for a time to go live with my grandmother in Florida. That's when I relocated to Florida when I was like 7 or 8, and she had a really nice neighborhood, like gated community and all kinds of good stuff, man. So I pretty much walked every walk of life, man, from being super poor to living in a wealthy neighborhood and things like that, man. So I think that I've seen a lot of things like over my 30 years of life.
Yeah, well, actually, if you've seen more than a lot of people have seen. If you live from trailer home to rat-infested motels and all that kind of stuff, you've seen it, brother. You've actually seen it. Now, what kind of schools did you go to?
So I went when I was like really small. When I went to go live with my grandmother, I went to a private school for a little bit, and then I went to like a magnet school. So that I went to like a magnet school. I always did like really well in school, so it wasn't really that difficult to place me there. Then when I got into more adolescence, and then I became, I was an angry teenager, man. Like I was an angry kid. There were a lot of things going on in my life.
Why were you angry?
It's just home stuff, like things going on with my mom and stuff like that, man. So it was a very confusing time for me. It was very confusing, and I didn't really have anybody to like lean on and things like that. So I got real involved with like hip hop and listening to hip hop and things like that.
By the way, you're good at it. I heard some of your rap. You're good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But so I got real involved with that, and I was just angry, man. I was just an angry kid, and so I started getting expelled from school. I think I've been expelled 3 times. So I went to alternative schools, and that was different from, going from a magnet school, right, to
Oh
going to an
yeah,
alternative
definitely.
school.
Oh
It's,
yes.
it's very different, man, and I had to kind of learn and adapt and understand, man. I'm half Irish and half Jamaican, man. So, and I grew up with my Irish side, my white family, right.
Hmm.
Never met my dad, typical black statistic. You know what I mean? Never met him. So I grew up there. So at home, I'm surrounded by, white folk, and then I go to school in, alternative schools, which are predominantly black and whatever. And I had to learn to not be a sheep and be a wolf, because people see just things like that, man. It was a different climate, right? It wasn't 2020. You know what I mean? It was a few years ago. So people would try and pick things about you, like, oh, well, your mom is white, you live with a white family, you would live with whatever. And my mom was gay too. My mom is straight gay, like very gay. You know what I mean? Which isn't an issue, right? It's just like
Actually,
growing
it
up.
is an issue based on
Like,
what I listen to you talk about
well, no, it's not
LGBTQ.
an issue for me. I don't believe it to be. I don't, promote that lifestyle.
Right.
It's just not my thing. But it wasn't like discriminate. I don't discriminate against people like that, right?
Hmm.
But like growing up, it was almost like you looked upon as some like bad thing. So people would try and get on me for
So was
that.
it your
So I
mother
just
that
had to
was
stick
white or
up
your dad
for
that was
myself, bro.
white? Was your mother white or your dad white?
My mother is white.
Okay, good. And your mother was also gay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Continue.
So basically, saying that, you got all these other folk around you, a bunch of hood motherfuckers typically when you're excuse me. Oh my God. Can I curse or can I not
I'll
curse?
I'll bleep that one out. Don't worry
I
about it.
believe that. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. A bunch of hood people around, you know what I mean? Everybody wants to be a wolf when you're in like alternative side of schooling and, going in those types of areas. And just wasn't going to be a sheep, man. So, what I
Hmm.
mean? If people were going to try and get on me, I don't care what you look like, how big you were. Like, I had to make sure that I stuck up for myself, man.
Yeah. Now, so that happened, I guess, in high school, middle school, high
Middle
school.
school and high school, yeah.
Yeah. What about college? What was your college life like?
I dropped out of college, I think 3 semesters in. I went
Yeah,
to
but what was
college.
it like? You were there. What
No,
did you not?
it's no issue. I mean, I didn't live on campus. I went to school. I did my, I did my work, and then I went home. You know what I mean? It was really, there was nothing really much to it.
Okay. Now, when did you said you got into politics about 4 years ago? Why did you do that?
Yeah, man. So it was in the Donald Trump 2016 election with him and Hillary and all of that, right? And it
Hmm.
was a big thing. It was a big thing. I didn't really know much about Donald Trump other than, yo, that's the dude from The Apprentice, right? So I didn't really know much about him. I wasn't involved in that type of stuff. And my uncle, like, very into politics, like very, like, I mean, it's always like a political debate when my uncle is around, right? And he's like, dude, you're 26 now. Don't you think that you should have an opinion on the country that you live in, and how these people see fit to govern your lives? And I was like, well, that makes sense. You know what I mean? I probably should
Hmm.
get into it. So then I got into it and I started researching, Democrats and Republicans. And I was like, well, definitely not a Democrat. And I was looking over here. I was like, nah, I'm not a Republican either. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, so I was more on the libertarian side. I was like, okay, so I think I fall in line more with this. But I'm just more socially conservative in most aspects. So
Okay.
now I don't even consider myself any of those. I really just go by a constitutionalist, man. So like I'm a constitutional conservative, which basically means that I hold the Constitution to a fairly high regard, and I believe a constitutionally limited government.
Well, I mean, you have a. I think you're saying you have a basis, so you don't suffer. You from. I did a lot of going through of your
Were you about
material.
to say suffer from Trump derangement syndrome? Was that what you were gonna say?
I don't think you suffer from the Trump derangement
No, I
syndrome.
definitely don't.
No, I don't think you do. You see, the issue is this: you are there are two things that I noticed with in researching my research on you involved researching your TikTok channel. Okay, and because I find that when you get somebody just spouting off a lot of things, you learn a whole lot from them. And
Yeah.
what I find is, I found that you were extremely intelligent. There are not too many people who can keep up with the speed of your thoughts when you're in a debate. It's very hard for most people to keep up with the speed of your debates. And thirdly, you're and take this from the point of view that I wanted to come across, and that is you're a hell of an entertainer. And a lot of what you do has entertainment value, because I
Sure.
noticed that what I was doing was being entertained by what you were saying. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
important. That's important when you're trying to engage with people.
right. Unfortunately, though, brother Tyler, is that even though you use in all of your interpretations, you use a lot of stats and whatever, and I
Mhm.
see you decimate people with stats, right? And I sit down and I'm like, oh my God, he's going to get you there because you have to go one step before. um you just said that you are a constitutionalist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me why.
I just believe that it is I believe in the founding fathers' intent, right? So the founding fathers really just understood. I mean, coming from, the Revolutionary War and all of that, we really just then understood that, look, government is corrupt. Not even just government, people are inherently corrupt the more power that they get, right? It's really just human nature. And government definitely becomes more and more corrupt the more that power that they have, the more that they are able to outgun their citizens. And I believe that. And I just fell in line with that whole thing. I believe that the constitutionalist, it just means really that the government should be limited in power, and most power should be held with citizens, right? So like you and me, and also at the state level instead of at the federal level, right? Each state, we're a republic of states, right? So like each state kind of has their own rights to say what we want to do over here compared to what the federal government may want to do themselves. So I just believe that.
And I'm super happy that you say that that is what you believe. My next question to you would be, first of all, I don't. I by the way, we have some commonalities. I have a whole lot of Jamaican roots as well. I'm Latino and
Mhm.
Jamaican at the
Well,
same
I don't
time.
know my Jamaican roots, man. So
You
that's
don't know
yeah.
any of your Jamaican
No,
roots?
I never met that side of my family, no, man.
Well,
I
I
didn't.
may, you're still young. May I suggest
Yeah,
that you do so? Because there's
yeah.
a whole lot of history there that would probably come to pass. I know nothing about that side for you, but you'll learn a whole lot, and you'll probably pick up some of the values that I actually have as well, both Latino, Caribbean, and otherwise, and why we can have a sensible conversation. Um, I don't believe I believe that the founding fathers did the only thing I think the founding fathers did well was to establish a document that had elasticity in it, which means that could be changed. That is my opinion, which differs a bit from you. I find nothing redeeming about the document in most areas. I find nothing redeeming in a
Well,
document
the
from
document the document is just centered around limiting the power of
that's
the
what they like to
government.
they do say
That's not what
that.
they like to say. Like that's what it is. Do you not believe that it is?
I no, I don't believe that it is at all, because I think once you are able to say that that we get into the situation, three-fifths of a person, we get into the situation where it dictate the rights of the states, and otherwise no, it's
Hmm.
a dictatorial document as well, which it should be. I'm not denying that it shouldn't be. It should be. What I do not like about a lot of folks that talk about constitutionality about these documents is that, I'm sorry, as enlightened as those people were in 1776, they don't have a clue of the issues that govern 2020, 2021. And
That's a completely fallible argument, man. So what you're saying is that
mhm,
so tell me exactly
mhm.
how government is different, how people in general are different, and how government is different between 1776 or 1789 and today.
Well, I mean, there's much. We are more intelligent. We know one group of people shouldn't be controlling certain things.
How
Let
would
me
you
give
even
you
measure that? How would you
No,
measure
no.
that we're more
I don't
intelligent?
want to measure. Here's the deal. I don't want to measure it because I know
So
we're
you don't know, so
smarter.
you
No,
can't
no, no, no,
assert
no,
that.
no, 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 no. Here's what I'm saying. I can assert that if these guys came and saw an airplane, they wouldn't know what the hell they were seeing. Okay, so
We're
I
more
can assert that.
technologically advanced, man. That doesn't mean
Of
that we're
course,
and that has nothing. And just to be clear, I asked
yes.
you a very direct question. You're kind of skating around my
No, no, I'm
question
not
there.
skating. I'm not skating.
Okay.
What I'm saying is simple. People think differently. If you were walking the streets of 1776, you would be looked at differently from the people see things differently in
That has nothing to do with
1776.
what I asked.
It has everything to do with
So
it.
let me rephrase because I feel like you're just kind of going around what I'm
Go
asking.
for it. Go for it.
Okay. So
Rephrase.
what I'm asking you is
Yes.
how are people different? When I say people different, I don't mean racially different. I
Hmm.
mean how are people different in their ways for human nature when it comes to things like ambition, when it comes to things like corruption, right? How are we different?
We are different because in the past, I'm glad you said ambition. Ambition is a perfect example. The ambition of certain people, the ambition of women, were kept in check based on how people lived in 1776. In 2020, that's different. So ambition is not a good example. You may, now I see the point that you want to make. The point that you want to make is that human values in general don't change over time. And that I will
that's not
agree
the point
with.
I'm making. That's not the point I'm making.
Well, that's the only point I think you could make.
How is government different today than it was before? The only thing that's different is that they have more power, which
Wrong. Let me explain to you. Because
please.
Yeah, please, it's important. One of the ways that we control issues in this country is we first have to abstract government and the people. When even the founding fathers in their literature, in their work, and let's even talk about Federalist 10, but we don't have to necessarily go there. Our government had a tendency to want us to believe that we the people, and right?
Yep.
And we the people is government. Now,
we the people is not government.
Let me finish. We the people of the United States is the government we want to form. In other words, we want a government of and by the people. It's actually in the document, right? A government of and by the people, correct?
Sure.
Good. However, if you start to abstract the people from government, we get a lot of what has instructed you. And I understand why. I mean, that is a theory. The theory is that if we can abstract government from people, then they can look at that as some externality, which it isn't. The truth of the matter is a lot of complaints that you as a conservative have is right, is correct. You know, we can talk about certain types of bureaucracies. We can talk about a lot of those issues. But that was at the will of the people. If we want to change that, we the people can. It's not some bureaucracy that cannot be changed. But the thing that a lot of conservatives, in my humble opinion, do is they take power away from people. And by taking that power, they're saying that thing called the government, you don't have control over. And that's where that is, I think, the fundamental difference between somebody like myself and you. I have more faith in we the people being able to be the government and not think of the government as some external force.
I feel like that just completely skated around what I was saying, but no worries.
Do you understand with that? Do you understand that?
I understand your thought process.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely understand your thought process.
But let me stop you there though. Do you believe my thought process can be? It's not right now, but do you believe my thought process can be in your way of, you're smart in your way of thinking?
Do I believe that that the people can be the government?
If you believe that the government, first of all, if you believe government should be by and of the people, you believe that, right?
Well, the government is here by and of the people. I mean, we elect them, so yeah.
Good, but if you believe that, my question is, you don't think it is, because right now you still talk about the government having power. There's a particular
no. That's not what I'm saying. So, okay. So what I'm saying is that yes, our government is. What I'm saying is that the government is supposed to be by and for the people. What I'm telling you is that historically, right, the government, as it gains more and more power, and as it cripples its citizens, well, as it gains more and more power, it limits the liberties of citizens. So hold on. So because that it limits the liberties of citizens, that is what I do not support, and I support a constitutionally limited government, which we do not have now. They have completely eroded the Constitution by inflicting more and more tyranny upon citizens.
I don't know what that means. I honestly don't know what that means.
It just means that I don't know how to explain it. It just means that the government has power. Government has power, and they're taking power from us. That's what I'm saying.
Stop a second. Okay, here's this. We the people have power, taking it away from we the people.
So government officials that we elect,
right,
are taking our liberties from us. Yes.
Stop then. You're okay. Good. Thank you. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
So you just said the people we elect are taking power away from us. Do we have the ability to unelect them?
Sure, but I mean,
stop. No, wait.
Hold on. No, it's a complex question.
Let me tell you why I want to get there.
Are you going to let me speak?
Yes, I will. I promise. Because you speak a lot. I promise. I just want to engage you in a particular thought process here, and then I'm going to take your thought process. I'll then give you the full thing to say back. Mm-hmm. So you just said that people we elect continue to take more power. I then say, can we unelect them? You said yes. But I didn't allow you to say the but yet because I wanted to go one step further. Because of another TikTok that I heard from you, and I said to that, when I looked at that person, I'm like, my God, why didn't you take him here? Because I really wanted to hear your response. And that is, you gave the impression that while you don't want government to do certain things, you think it is okay for the private sector, business to do something.
Like what specifically?
I don't remember what was on the TikTok. I should have,
Generally speaking, I would say yeah, but it's kind of like case by case.
Yeah, because my
So
tenet to this,
basically, this would clear it up for you. So I believe, so when it comes to the government, right? I believe that the government is really only responsible for protecting life, liberty, and property. That's really it.
That's
so
what
other
you
things,
want.
That's what I believe that government is supposed to be for. Yes.
Right.
That's what our founding fathers believe, that it
That's
should
not
just be
true.
protecting life,
No.
property, and yes, it is.
The preamble itself puts that away, because once it talks about wanting the welfare of the people, that was not defined.
It was defined. It's
No,
just
it was not.
So you're talking about the general welfare clause?
Yes.
The general welfare clause is fine, but that doesn't give the government power to do anything it wants in terms of welfare. It has to be regarded to the enumerated powers of the Constitution.
And sure,
right?
and let's give an example, because
so like universal health care and things like that is not under the enumerated powers of the Constitution.
Says who?
The Constitution.
Okay, what part of the military is?
The military is embedded in the Constitution.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, the general welfare. I mean, who said that we had?
And to be clear, when it says military, though, I mean, I don't think actually might not say military, but it really just says like armed forces, right? And at the time, and at the time, just to be clear, like a lot of the founding fathers didn't really believe in a standing military. They really believed in like separate militias and things.
And well, that I don't know, because I can't read their minds and they're all dead. But the thing about it is, the thing about it is, I think what happens with constitutionalists, and this is where I think you have to agree with me, is that we have different interpretations of these things. In other words, when I use the general welfare clause, I want to use it. And when you want to use it,
you want to use it for whatever you want to use it for.
You bet your life I do.
Exactly. And that's not what it was made for.
But you don't know that.
I do know that, because that's what the founding. Okay, so that's what the founding fathers would go in and they would say. Like, you had people like who's my favorite founding father? James Madison, right? And a lot
that was cool. Yeah.
James Madison's my favorite. He created the Second Amendment. Second Amendment is my wheelhouse, man. That's my thing. The right to bear arms. I want citizens having the right to own nuclear weapons, man. So anyway,
I saw you say that in one of your TikToks. I wanted to listen. When all I said when I saw that TikTok is, damn, this guy's an entertainer.
Dude, it's fact. So here's the thing. When I say things like that, and I'm kind of negating for what I was just about to go into, but it's okay. This is kind of more entertaining anyway. Is that so when I say things like that, you got to understand, especially on TikTok. See, what you're doing is more podcast style, and it's I think it's a different type of audience. Like when you're on TikTok, like you have 60 seconds to get your point across,
and you are entertaining, brother. You're entertaining.
You have to be semi entertaining. Now, I may say things that are like, it's for like shock value, but that does not mean that what I'm saying is disingenuous or even untrue, or that I don't believe it. But I may phrase it in a way that'll capture your attention, like nuclear weapons. Now, to be clear, I don't want citizens owning nuclear weapons. I don't want the government owning nuclear weapons, but I believe that we have the right to own those things.
Okay, now here's the thing, and if there's one thing I would hope this super conservative talking to this socialist Democrat.
I'm not super conservative, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I want you to leave this conversation knowing that we are going to continue talking, and not only that, but I want you to start thinking more about the government mean more of we the people. And I think for us to move forward in this country,
but I feel like that doesn't really mean anything. I feel like when
it does mean a lot, brother. It means a lot. It means a lot. It means,
what does it mean? Can you break that down for me?
Yes, it means that we have to take. One of the tenets of I don't know if you've ever been to my website. It's called egbertowillies.com. And one of the tenets of the website that I have is political involvement should be a requirement for citizenship. I'm originally from Central America, Panama. Okay, yeah. And one of the things that I dislike the most here is I would have given you hell about 4 years ago that you were not politically involved when our politics has a distinct effect on you.
Yeah.
And I'm not even only talking about you as a black man. You have not yet. I've seen a lot of your black issues TikTok, and that's gonna take another show because I don't think we have enough time to do it here. Because I'm gonna say, brother, you got a problem, but we'll talk about that
No,
another
man.
time.
No, man.
We're gonna talk about that
You
another
can't, you
time.
can't, you can't say that, drop a bomb, man, and then be like, "Oh, we're gonna talk about it later."
You know what? That's gonna be that's good. You know, I'm learning something from you though, right? You know
Yeah.
how to do that. You know how to say, and we're going to talk about that the next time. So I'm going to learn that from you. Okay. My conservative brother just taught me some
It's
stuff
all
about,
right, man. It's all
yeah.
good.
But look, but hey, but I think what I want to get out of this is that I want you you have enough knowledge. You have enough people that follow you. That I think we have to get to the position where you tell folks that government is we the people and not this abstraction or not this other thing. So that I'm not telling them not to engage as not to engage as conservatives. Engage as conservatives if you want, but engage and not look at it as the enemy. Because one of the reasons Trump is so bad at what he does, even if some of the things that you think he does is good, is because he has allowed that to continue. Not to say I'll make government work, but somehow government is that thing that doesn't work. And if we get there, we're screwed as a country. And I don't know if people can fathom that. We have to get to the place where I want to be
But
able to
see,
say, oh,
I
wait,
don't
wait, wait,
believe, I don't believe in that.
wait. You and I can have a civil discussion here. We having fun. We can talk,
Sure.
right? And some of the stuff that I told you, you may not want to admit this, but I'm gonna plant a damn seed in your head, right? And but the thing about it is we have to be able to get there. You plant seeds in my head. We got to get there. But we're not gonna get there if people like you only preach that that stuff is on the outside. So one of the reasons I wanted to get you on your show is to say, hey, I want people to see a conservative that know what the hell he's doing, but I want you to make a difference.
Sure, man. I mean, that's I believe that I am trying to make a difference, right? So my whole thing, my whole meaning for even joining TikTok and so on and so forth is to influence particularly a younger generation, because I think that they are not only just the most politically well, just the most political generation that we've had from a
Mhm.
younger group of people, but I'm more likely to be able to influence and change their mind. It's difficult the older that you become to be able to have your mind change, particularly if you've thought a certain way for so long, right?
Right.
So my whole thing is that, look, yes, the government is supposed to be for the people, but my whole thing, it really just comes down to really just human nature, is just the more power that people get, the more prone they are to being corrupt. And if you look at things historically, specifically in the United States, if you look at things historically, our rights and liberties have been taken from us. The more that government, the more power that government has, right? That's not even a correlation and causation. That's just that is what it is, right? So the more power that government has, the more and more liberties that they are going to be able to take away from you, right? So I don't like, so it doesn't matter how big or small like an unconstitutional thing is for me. I'm like, no. So like, let me give you an example, right? So there was this thing that came out that Trump did, I want to say maybe like a year ago, and he made it federally illegal for like animal abuse, right? It was like
Mhm.
some kind of animal abuse thing, and a whole bunch of Republicans and everybody's rallying around this, and they're all like, "Yes, he did this." And I'm a huge, I probably, I love my dog more than I love any other person probably on this planet, man. So you know what I mean? Like that's my homie, right? So I'm a huge dog person, man. I'm very into animal, well, pets, really, because I eat animals, but like very into pets, right? So I would be like totally cool, but I'm like, guys, this is totally unconstitutional. Like the federal government does not have the power to do this. So even though I like that law, it is unconstitutional, so I cannot support it. So I'm pretty I'm pretty consistent when it comes to things like that.
Now, let me tell you, in life, there are places where you should always be consistent. I think there are places where consistency is overrated. And
Yeah.
yeah, I do think. I mean, I take humanity over consistency. I take doing well over consistency. In fact, I believe that if I have to do well today and change the constitution tomorrow to bring it into
Yeah.
compliance with humanity, that's where I stand. And that's what I try to tell a lot of folks. Right? I like to tell them that I don't care what the Constitution says, really, if I am doing something that's going to move humanity forward. Because if the
Yeah, but what does that
Constitution,
mean? That's totally subjective. What is
yes, it is.
move
Yes, you're right.
what is move people
It
forward?
is subject. Let me give an example. It is
Yeah.
subjective, right? We have the worst healthcare system on the planet. That's a fact. Unfortunately, we don't learn. We have people in these think tanks that have very good psychologists and otherwise to continuously have us vote against our own interests when it comes to healthcare.
Mhm.
That's just how it is. And if you take a look at all the metrics that talks about the health of a nation, we are the richest nation and we are one of the poorest health in the OAC. Now that said, um, I know that one of the reasons I have a problem with Barrett being elected is whereas not Thomas, but Roberts and others are willing to deform the Constitution, your precious Constitution, in such a manner that
Well,
it
your
does.
precious constitution, it protects your rights too, man.
Well, I don't see how much it does that to a certain extent, but that's another subject. We're gonna talk about that the next time I have you on to talk about Black people. But anyhow, yeah, we're gonna have that talk, brother.
Okay.
We're gonna have that talk. But anyhow, so I err on the side of fixing a problem now. And if we have to modify the Constitution later, so be it. I don't put a lot of faith in that document.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Just to kind of gauge where your mentality is here for this.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you said that if we knew somehow, we just knew definitively, right? Factually, we would know that if you took away every person besides the government,
Mm-hmm.
if you took away every non-government citizen here, if you took away every non-government citizen's weapons,
Mm-hmm.
right? Took away all of their weapons, that we would quote unquote be a much safer country, that there would be less deaths, less murder. Would you support that bill going forward?
I would have to get the numbers, and I would have to.
In this hypothetical,
Wait, no, no,
you
no, no.
know
I
the
know. I'm
numbers.
not trying. I'm not trying to dodge you. I'm not trying to
Okay.
dodge you. Okay, because here's the deal: there are people who really like guns for sports. They're going out there and they're shooting their stuff.
Yeah.
I really don't want to stop that person from having their gun at all. I don't. So if an amendment came out that says we ban everybody from having a gun, I would probably not go along with that either, because just like I don't want a lot of my rights taken away, right? I
Mhm.
have to look at something that you like to do as long as we can do it safely. In other words, I don't want your rights infringing on mine. Okay.
So
Now,
you wouldn't support that then?
I don't think I could support
Then
it.
that's good, man. Then that's
But
good.
no,
I'm
no,
glad
I
to
don't.
hear that.
I don't
I'm
want
glad
you
to hear
to.
that.
I don't want you to be too happy. Okay.
Well, I'm happy, man. You
But
pretty
no,
much
no,
said
no.
it
But
for me, so I'm
here's the
happy.
deal. The thing about it is that's a caricature. The caricature is that we progressives want to take your weapons and we
No, no,
want
no,
to
no, no.
turn.
That wasn't the point. That wasn't the point that I was
Okay.
making. The point that I was trying to make is it doesn't even have to be guns, right? I just use that as
Right.
an example. The point that I'm trying to make is that if some bill or some law was coming across, or some bill came across, and that if we voted it into law, that it would restrict people's liberties in some way, right? Whether it be guns, whether it be something else, right? If it restricted people's liberties in some way, but it would quote unquote make us a safer nation, would you support it? That's what I'm
Okay,
asking.
now here's the thing. There's a trade-off, right? If I'm driving a car, if I have a speed limit set to 70 miles an hour
Yeah.
versus 30 miles an hour, right now we will save a lot of lives.
Mhm.
We still support 70 miles an hour. So I think you can see that most
But that's
people.
different. But that's different. You don't have a right to drive your car. I'm
I
talking
no
about
no no, but
liberties
I'm not.
and human
But I'm
rights.
not. You see, you keep talking about rights with the
Yes.
Constitution. You're talking to somebody who really doesn't care about the Constitution.
I'm not. It doesn't matter if it's the Constitution. I'm talking about rights.
I understand, but the only thing that can acknowledge our rights is the Constitution.
No, man. No.
Wait,
That's
wait.
not how
Let
it
me
is.
explain what I mean by that. Okay, let me explain what I mean by that. I think I have inalienable rights. I do believe that, right? You
Okay.
do. We all do.
Yeah, I know that we
But
do.
what I'm saying is, when we go into our legal framework, we have to define what those inalienable rights are. It's that simple, right? I mean, when we go to a court of law, what we look at is the code of law.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the only reason I said that. So I mean, but as it comes to, I'm saying, I think the logical thing is most people are pragmatic. Most people know that the
I
easiest way.
disagree.
I no, again, I think we
I
have
think that you put way too much faith in humanity, and I don't put
no,
as
no,
much
no, no,
faith.
no, 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 no. Let me tell you what I put. You want me to tell you what has happened to a lot of humanity after we've socialized?
Mm,
We have socialized, we've taken civics, we have done a whole lot of things over time. And this, I can, and I don't want to be condescending with you, but you're young
sure.
at 30 years old and you never got civics in school because those powers that be
Mm.
realized that teaching you physics would have made you more governmentally aware, would have made you more a citizen that knew about all these things. So we took civics away and we took a lot of things away because we wanted to take away the power of we the people. And it wasn't the government sector that did that. It was the private sector that did that through the Powell Manifesto and other things. And there's a reason to do that. I always try to tell people the following, my friend. The difference between government and corporations is that, theoretically speaking, government, if you don't like them, you can vote their butts out. But corporations are not democracies. Corporations can do whatever they want to do, including the purchase of the government, which is a lot of
But
what
but
we
but
have
what
right
you're
now.
saying is a gross oversimplification.
Yes, it
So
is. You're right.
So,
You're right.
you made the way that you put it forward,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying that this is what you believe, but this
Mm-hmm.
is what it comes across as,
Mm-hmm.
is that when you say, well, we can just vote them out. It's really not that simple,
No,
right? It's
I
not that
agree.
simple to just
It
vote them
takes
out, right?
work. No, 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 no.
It's
Look,
it well, not
it
only does
takes
it take work
work.
to get them out, but these corrupt politicians and so on and so forth that have their influences, and they have their connections and all of these things. It's not that
But guess
simple
what? You know
to go
what's the
ahead
interesting,
and get
brother?
them out.
Here's the interesting thing. We still have one person, one vote. One person, one vote. So what I'm saying is if we allow ourselves to be maligned by the plutocracy where they convince us who to vote for,
Yes, they manipulate us
right.
100%.
Yes,
100%.
and that's what I'm saying.
Mainly due to
But
mainstream
but
media, but
but
yes, they
here
manipulate us.
let me give you some trouble now. You manipulate too. Because
How do I manipulate? Well, first of all, even if I
no,
manipulate,
no, wait, let me
I have no
I'm giving you
power.
some kudos,
Like,
dude. I'm giving you
okay,
some kudos, all right?
okay.
You manipulate too.
How do I manipulate?
You go to your channel, and I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah,
If I weren't where I was
I'd say I
in
educate, not manipulate.
no, you
Yeah.
manipulate. If I weren't where I was politically, etc., I would leave your channel a conservative. And not only would I leave your channel a conservative, I would also leave your channel thinking that, and we'll talk to this another time because we got to close this out. But
Yeah.
I would also leave your channel as someone who really thinks there's an issue with Black people.
Yeah,
I would
I
really
think that would be ignorant and closed-minded, man.
no, it wouldn't be. But again, I'm telling you. Remember, you're the one putting the information out.
I just
I'm
want
the
to be
one receiving.
clear. I just want to be clear for all of the
Yes,
viewers that are watching this right
please
now
do. Yeah, go
that
ahead.
this man, and I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm saying this man has dropped a couple times now. It's like, look, your issue with Black people, but he don't want to go into it right now. He
Because
wants
it's
to
gonna be
bring me
it's a
back on.
whole show. And let
But
me.
this, I know that. But what I'm saying is that you can't bring it up then because I got nothing. I can't respond to it.
Okay, I tell you what I'll do. I tell
Is
you
that
what I'll
fair?
do. No, it is fair. Of course, it's fair. And tell them that some other time we'll talk about it if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah. Some other time we'll come on and we'll talk. I have no issues. I want to be very clear. I have no issues with Black people. I have issues with people that just lie and or manipulate or fabricate or whatever they have to do for the truth, man. I just believe in truth. And just because something may affect I may hurt more quote unquote Black people's feelings, or I may hurt this group of people's feelings more because I'm saying something that goes against the collective mindset, does not mean that I have issues with Black people. It means that I have issues with your ideology and your reasoning. And it may be more Black people that I have an issue with their reasoning, but not them just for being Black. I just want to be clear on that.
And I would give you that. Actually, I will give you that. I think a lot of the reasonings were wrong, and that's what we'll discuss when we
Sure,
actually
that's
have
fine.
our
That's fine.
conversation. But look, let me tell you something, Tyler Bluntman. I found you through a friend, and I thought I went to your channel and kind of really
I'm glad
respected it.
she hooked us up, man. It was
Yeah,
definitely awesome to be on the show, man.
and so we should do this again sometime. And look, keep up the good work, but keep an open mind, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you for letting me be here, and thank you for everyone who gave me the opportunity just to listen to what I had to say.
Thank you so kindly, Tyler Bluntman, my favorite black conservative. You like that?
I like that, man.
All right, take care, bud. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.